Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. This video is a campaign update for the Darksun campaign. We will take up where we last left off on what was happening. We had just finished fighting a bunch of these horned ape-like beast things, and we started retreating after winning our fight, but we know more were on their way, so we decided, with the injuries we had taken and the spells we had burned, as well as the items we had used, it was better to retreat. So we retreat back to our campsite. It's about 6 hours away. We healed up a little from the cleric that's now joined the party, and we made camp. The first watch, which my character was asleep for, a dead sparrow falls out of a tree, and it wasn't like an undead sparrow. It was a sparrow just dies and falls out of a tree. The area starts to look degraded. It seems like the life has kind of been sucked out of it. The grass is drying up, the trees are wilting. We talk with the elf NPC, and he confirms that the bad magic, the arcane magic, had been used, and apparently in such a quantity recently that it has affected this area. The archer sets the blood trail from the head Ort was carrying on fire, and it burns all the way back to the original battle site. Now, whether that happened fully or not, because him and the DM were discussing things after he said that, I don't know, but that's what I remember, and that's what I wrote down. We go back to the old rough trade town that was a few days away. Ort is there to replace his flasks of oil, where he used 12 flasks of oil in the battle with the two big ape creatures. He is replacing it with as much oil as he can. He ended up acquiring 24 after a run around with one of the party members buying all the oil, and then he had to track him down to get the oil that he wanted. But he ended up getting 24 flasks of oil, and he took those flasks of oil and he tied them into bundles of 4. So when he pulls them out of the bag, there'll be bundles of 4 that he can throw at something. We take one of the sheets of metal we had harvested from the ravine that had the boiling metal river that had the different metals mixed in it: gold, platinum, electrum, silver, copper. And we take what we can from it and took it to a metallurgist of some sort, whether it be a coin maker or jewelry maker or whatever. I don't remember what specifically we took it to. We take it to one of those guys, and we have him break it up into ingots. He ends up breaking it up into 2-pound ingots. So that would be the equivalent of 100 coins of that given value. And then he takes for payment, like, I think it was 20 copper ingots out of all the ingots we got, and we got quite a large amount of ingots from that sheet. So we're going to spend some of that in town and divide that amongst the party. We also plan to go back to that river, but we don't know if we're going to do it right away or if we're going to explore a new place and then go back and get some more money that way. While we were in town, the cleric that just joined the party seeks out an area to where he can craft magical items. I think that's what he took. Or he took brew potion. No, he took craft wand. So he was seeking out a place where he could craft a wand. And he ended up, after talking to the elf NPC, finding a location in town that he can do that. Ort talks with the armorers and the merchants in town after acquiring his oil. One of the rich merchants offers to buy the ape skull that he has tied to his belt. And Ort refuses a couple of times. And I rolled randomly for that. The guy then tells him about the Colosseum and the slaves that are fighting in the Colosseum and stuff. So Ort goes there and he watches one of the fights, and then he talks to the guy arranging the stuff and sees if he can fight one of the monsters that they have. And they end up having a one of those ape things that I have on my belt. So I decide to fight that. I try to make it more fair for the ape creature, so I would fight it in armor, but it'd be leather armor provided by them and a great club provided by them. The rest of the party ends up at the Coliseum at some point, and they begin betting on what's going on, my fight with this ape thing. I give my armor and stuff over to the pugilist, and then step in the arena with the ape. The fight, I spend the first two or three rounds of the fight exchanging blows with the ape thing, but I don't rage. And I do a decent amount of damage, and I take a decent amount of damage. I think one of the hits was a critical hit, and it did like 19 points of damage to me. So from there, after the 2 or 3 rounds, I then rage, and within 2 more rounds, the ape thing was on the ground, and I spent 1 more round making sure it was finished off. I then, after the battle's over, acquire the money that from my bet on myself, and then acquire the armor from this fight, because I wanted to keep the armor as a souvenir. I then, in town with the weaponsmith, purchased a great club to add to my weapons. After that, Hoya, or while this was going on, Hoya, my cat lady psionic, she was in the bar, and a fat guy with a fishing pole and some catnip got her attention and drug her up to the second floor into one of the rooms, and she ends up shredding him doing the deed with him. After all that, the whole group shows up at the bar, and we all are celebrating after the incident with the Colosseum. A few days later, we hear an alarm go off in the town. So we're still doing our thing. The archer's making oil drip arrows, essentially flaming arrows. And he's having some issues on time on crafting that. So we're going to stay in town until he's done. But after a few days, an alarm goes off and the town empties. Hoya, the dwarf pugilist, are the only ones left out on the streets and are curious enough to look around. Hoya fails her stealth, but still goes into an inn after seeing a big shadow fly through the air. And so does the pugilist. A gold dragon lands, knocking the archer who was looking out of his window. And the dragon talks with the archer, and that's roughly where the game ended. So this big gold dragon is going to be something interesting to deal with. Well, hope that was entertaining for you guys. Until we all game again.